Alright, so we are getting close to Mydei coming out in Honkai Star Rail. He's probably my favorite Amphoreus character so far, which is making me really excited to pull for him when his banner drops. So today, I want to go over Mydei's full kit and his overall value to see whether or not you should be pulling for him on your account. Starting out with this kit here, Mydei is an imaginary destruction character with a kind of controversial kit, but we'll talk more about that once we got everything, talked about here. So, starting out with his basic attack, it is just a single target hit. You're not going to be using this because it really doesn't play into his core mechanics. And on the topic of those core mechanics, let's go into his talent first, because there's a lot to unpack here, and a lot of it is very important to how Mydei actually works. So, through his talent, it talks about his unique resource called his charge. So Mydei will gain 1 point of charge for every 1% of HP he loses, and this can max out at 200 charge. When Mydei has 100 charge, he's going to consume that 100 to enter the Vendetta state. Upon entering the Vendetta state, you're going to heal 25% of Mydei's max HP, and he will also receive a 100% action advance. And while the Vendetta state is active, Mydei's max HP is going to be increased by 50%, and his defense is going to be set to 0, meaning that you will lose more HP per hit, which is very nice, but you also have more max HP to compensate for you to be able to tank some of those hits. When Mydei's turn happens during the Vendetta state, he will automatically use his enhanced skill, Kingslayer Be King. So you don't really get a say in terms of what abilities to use once you are in the Vendetta state, which is the more controversial thing, but I'll give my thoughts on this towards the end when we get into his overall value. And during the Vendetta state, if Mydei takes fatal damage, it's going to consume any charges he has, you're going to exit the Vendetta state, and he's going to recover 50% of his max HP. Also during Vendetta, if you hit 150 charge, Mydei will gain an extra turn, very similar to what happens with Rappa and Seela. And here he's going to use his secondary enhanced skill, Godslayer Be God, which, as we'll talk about when we get to them, is even stronger than his other enhanced skill. So I know it's a mouthful for the talent, but it really just has a lot of the core mechanics for Mydei's kit. So now let's go on to his regular skill first. So upon using Mydei's skill, it's going to consume 50% of his current HP to do a blast attack, which is going to be pretty nice to consume that much HP, especially for early in the fight, so you can get as close to the Vendetta state as possible. Then for his 2 enhanced skills here, firstly for Kingslayer Be King, he's going to consume 35% of his max HP, and will also deal imaginary blast damage. And this multiplier, obviously with being enhanced, is going to be higher than that of the regular skill. Then for the enhanced skill Godslayer Be God, instead of consuming HP, he's going to consume 150 charge, and this is also a blast attack with an even higher damage multiplier than Kingslayer Be King, but upon using Godslayer Be God, this attack cannot accumulate any additional charge for Mydei. So that is important to know, so that he's not getting charge from this, but pretty much anywhere else in his kit, as long as he's losing HP, he's going to be able to get charge. Then for Mydei's ultimate, he's going to heal 20% of his max HP, which is very nice for his survivability. He's going to gain 20 charge points, and also he's going to deal a blast attack that is also a blast taunt, meaning that all of the enemies that are hit by his ultimate, they will be taunted towards him for 1 turn, which is really nice so that you can confirm that some enemies will hit him to have him lose even more HP and either get you to the Vendetta state if you're not in it, or to activate his Godslayer Be God. Then also, speaking of Godslayer Be God, then after using the ultimate, the next use of Godslayer Be God will actually prioritize the main target of the ultimate. So because of the way he automatically does Kingslayer Be King and Godslayer Be God, this is going to allow you to have some say in the targeting, but not like as much say as pretty much every other character in the game when it comes to using their abilities. Then for Mydei's technique, he's going to be able to pull enemies into each other, and is going to inflict the daze status on them for 10 seconds. And when you enter battle against enemies that are dazed, it's going to deal AoE imaginary damage. All the enemies will have a 1-turn taunt towards Mydei, and Mydei also gets a free 50 charge, meaning that if you are able to start battle with his technique, it's going to be very easy for you to get into the Vendetta state really early in battle. Then for the final part of his core kit here, let's talk about his traces. His Ascension 2 trace makes it so that during the Vendetta state up to 3 times per battle, if Mydei does take fatal damage, he won't actually exit the Vendetta state, which is really good so that you don't have any downtime where you're not using his enhanced skills. So it is definitely helpful there. His Ascension 4 trace gives him a crowd control immunity during the Vendetta state, which is also really good because that means nothing is going to stop him from dealing all of his damage. And then his Ascension 6 trace is also really important because it does show how well his HP scaling is going to work for him. So for every 100 max HP above 4,000, and this is going to cap at 8,000 max HP on Mydei, which is a goal you should be building for if you're building him. Every 100 HP, you're going to get 1.2% crit rate with a max of 48% at 8k. You're going to get 2.5% charge gain from enemy damage, which is going to be a 100% increase at maximum. And then a 0.75% incoming healing bonus per extra 100 HP at a maximum of 30% incoming healing. This is going to help him a lot because you're already getting a lot of crit rate from this. And you're also going to be able to get your charge faster, and you're going to get some more healing as well per heal, which is just going to really help sustain him a lot. Then lastly, for his trace stats, he is going to get 18% max HP, 37.3% crit damage, and 5 speed as well, which are pretty solid stats for his kit. So now let's touch on his Eidolons here for players who want to have a bit more vertical investment for him. So his E1 is going to give a 30% damage multiplier bonus for the primary target of Godslayer Be God, and it's also going to make Godslayer Be God become an AoE. And the damage multiplier for this, as opposed to it being the big multiplier on the single target and then the smaller one on the blast targets, it's going to be the main target multiplier on all enemies, which is going to be nice for higher enemy situations. But if you are in lower enemy fights, it really isn't going to have too crazy of an impact. Then for his E2, during the Vendetta state, he's going to ignore 15% of the enemy's defense, and he's also going to be able to convert 40% of the healing he receives into charge, and this will max out at 40 charge gained. And the tally of this amount of healing being converted is going to reset upon Mydei taking action. So that'll be a nice way as well to get more charge and get you some more Kingslayer Be King, Godslayer Be God usages, all that kind of stuff for him to deal even more damage. Then for his E4, during the Vendetta state, he's going to get a 30% crit damage buff, and whenever he receives an attack, he's going to be able to heal 10% of his max HP, which is going to help him have more survivability as well. Then lastly for Eidolons, his E6 will allow him to enter the Vendetta state at the start of battle, so there is no downtime with the state, and the cost of using Godslayer Be God is lowered from 150 charge to 100 charge, making it a lot more consistent, and you are going to be able to get more uses of Godslayer Be God as well. And since it is an extra turn as opposed to like an action advance, you'll pretty much a lot of the time be using Kingslayer Be King to get more charge and then going right into Godslayer Be God, so you can have some really nice bursts of damage. So that is everything there for Mydei's kit. So let's talk about his overall value now. So overall, I think in general, Mydei is going to be a pretty solid character, but I don't think he's going to be a must-pull for a lot of people. I think that when it comes to what could be coming in the future, especially since we are approaching the anniversary patch with 3.2, I think that characters in there, especially probably Castorus, with how much she has been hyped up, I think that she is going to be an absolutely crazy character, and Mydei being right before her is some pretty unfortunate placement. And even comparing him to other characters around this time as well, I do think that for a lot of players, Trippy is probably just a more valuable pickup. But if you do pull for Mydei, it's not like a completely bad thing, because I do think he is going to be pretty solid overall in terms of damage and just being able to do what he needs to do. Now, the thing about autoplay, it is a bit strange because like I've seen a bunch of people talk about it through social media, through videos and whatnot, and I'm like still kind of torn on it because I haven't actually like really gotten to mess around with it myself, since I'm not in any like early access server for any of the Hoyo games. So, and the only time we use Mydei were like the couple trials during the story, which doesn't really give you enough of, a showing of that. So I'll see how I feel about it once I actually get to play as Mydei a bunch when I pull for him. But it is kind of a strange thing to further limit what the player can do with a character. But yeah, I won't comment too much on it here. I might make a video about it once I actually use Mydei and get my thoughts on it. But it is a bit of a strange thing for them to give to a character, especially a character like Mydei. I think when it comes to the characters that work well with Mydei, you are going to have the best synergy with supports that are not focused on attack. So characters like Triby, Sunday, Remember Dempsey, and also healers are going to be Mydei's best friend. You don't want to run a shielder, or else you are not really going to be having a lot of HP to work with. And if your shields get broken down by these enemies that are getting stronger and stronger as time goes on, then Mydei is not going to be able to perform as well. So characters like, Gallagher, Legsha, Locha, they're going to be pretty solid with him as well to keep him sustained, keep him alive. And also, I know players always ask about, like, oh, is the signature light cone a must pull and things like that. I already went over the Eidolons for like vertical investment as well, but for the signature light cone, I think that while it's good, I don't think it's necessary to pull because we do have a very good free-to-play option in the light cone from the Rappa event, which if you missed the event during 2.6, which honestly I don't blame you, that patch was pretty mid, I definitely do recommend getting that from the Herta shop as well, since it is there, because it is going to be a very good light cone for Mydei and really any like HP draining kind of DPS, or like self HP draining DPS like Mydei and also even Blade, but we're not even really talking about Blade here. But all in all, not to yap too much here, I think that Mydei is going to be very good for players, especially ones who are, if you don't have as much imaginary coverage, if you want a good, destruction character. But there is going to be better, and there is better already in terms of not only just DPSs, but just characters that are available this patch in general, as well as what's to come, because we are about a couple weeks away from the 3.2 live stream where we'll actually see Casterus's kit officially, we'll see Anax's kit officially, and we'll see what they're going to bring to the game here. But I'd love to hear what you all think in the comments down below. I definitely am going to be pulling for Mydei because I've been looking forward to him ever since I saw him in game for the first time. Regardless of how the autoplay thing works out, I probably will still use him on my account. But yeah, let me know what you all think. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.